What's up, guys? Chris here with the last FLO-OSOPHY of 2019. And I know you guys are going to be bombarded with 2020 goal setting and all these crazy ways of achieving goals and things of that nature. But I want to simplify things for you. I'm going to do this in 3 parts. So we're going to talk about 3 things you need to control that are going to help you in this upcoming year. Not goal setting, not all that stuff, not writing anything down. Just 3 things I want you to learn to control. First one is environment. Second one is time. And the third one is body. So environment, time, and body. So let's break these down. And what I mean by environment, again, time and body, I'll talk about a different time, but we're going to talk about environment today. So I was reading this book, and I'll talk about it as the weeks go on. I'll give you more information on the book, but it's really good. It talks about quantum physics and things of that nature, but it talks about cause and effect. And a lot of us live in that cause and effect where something happens and then it affects us, meaning someone cuts you off in traffic and you get upset. Something happens at work, someone says something, you get upset, or you get moody about it, or emotionally drained by someone else. So the thing that's happening out there is affecting you. And what they talk about in the book is everything is energy. So they talk about, instead of cause and effect, think about causing an effect. Again, instead of cause and effect, think about causing an effect. And what that means is, if you have a certain energy, so you talk about, if we believe in cells and molecules and atoms and subatomic particles, then within the subatomic particles is just energy. So the energy we project, energy we have, is what we give to the world, which affects our environment, hence causing an effect. So if you have a positive vibe, a positive energy towards the world, towards whatever you're doing, then you're causing positivity around you because you're radiating that energy. And so like attracts like. So we need to start thinking about that as we think about goal setting and things of that nature. If we want something to happen, what energy are we putting out there? And stop thinking so much about the how. And this is something I got lost in early on with goal setting and planning, and I too structured with a lot of things. And even though you do need structure, don't get me twisted, structure does create freedom. It's not thinking so much about the how. So if I want to acquire a thing, instead of thinking how, what are the exact steps I'm going to take to acquire that thing, let's think about the energy I need to give out there so that thing comes to me. So you start attracting things instead of forcing things to happen. And a prime example for me, a lot of things in my life that I wanted to achieve, the things I forced to happen didn't turn out right. But the things I just knew I wanted and kept thinking about, and whether you believe in prayer or whatever else, those things eventually ended up happening for me. And not in the way I thought they were going to happen. They just tend to happen on their own. And it wasn't something I forced to happen. It was more something I thought about. I held with me all the time. I thought about, and eventually those things came true. And so if you believe in that stuff, and I'm living proof that that stuff has happened, and I'm sure there's more that's going to happen down the line, but I was causing an effect rather than cause an effect. And again, I'm not saying the other stuff is bad. I just want you to start thinking about, in 2020, holding that thing that you want and letting go of how it's going to come to you. Because so many people, for example, I know I was wanted a house, to take care of a house and be a dad. I know those things I wanted. And the way I was trying to go about them, I was trying to force them to happen. And when I let go of that stuff, that's when it ended up happening for me. And it came to me, not the way I thought. I thought I was going to have to do all these things to acquire it. And while I did some things, it wasn't things I thought I was going to do. I thought I was going to have to save all this money, have 10 jobs, and make X amount of money. And the things wound up happening for me in a different way. And I think that's a very important lesson I learned through that. Instead of trying to force everything to happen, just letting things come to you by having that energy and projecting that energy out to the world by talking about, this is the things I want. Whether you believe in every day saying affirmations, if you believe in writing things down and going over them, just reviewing your goals, your life dreams or whatever, putting a dream board, all that stuff is actually saying the same thing, because it's creating an energy that's going to help create that thing towards you. So that's the first thing, that's the environment. Environment is also the people you're around and the place you are. Like they say, if you want to launch big ships, you have to go where the water's deep. So your environment around you does affect it, but it's also the environment you create internally that's actually more important. So I want you to focus on your environment. That's the first thing. Again, we're going to go to 2 more parts. We're going to talk about time, and we're going to hope you enjoyed this. If you have someone who you think will benefit from this information, be sure to tag, share, all that good stuff. We have a workshop coming up, so look at FLO-OSOPHY.com for our upcoming events, our live events we'll be doing throughout the year. And hope this information is good for you. Talk to you guys next time. Peace.